各位网友，大家好，这里是人民网系列访谈节目《湘江直通车》，我是一绝。近日，意大利著名画家波提切利的作品《维纳斯》在香港大学美术博物馆展出，为期2个月。我们邀请到了意大利驻香港与澳门总领事埃冷珊女士，和我们分享了她对画展、对她在香港的生活的感受，并且表达了对目前中意关系的看法。本次访谈将用英文对话。Hello, Miss Schiavo.
Hello, really, it's such a pleasure to be here, and ni hao to everybody.
As we know, Venus is a painting created in the 15th century. It was painted by an Italian painter, Botticelli, in the early Renaissance period. So it is a very worldwide known painting and is admired by Italian people a lot, I suppose. So how do you like the painting yourself?
I really love that painting because actually I almost grew with it. I remember that my mother brought me to the Uffizi Gallery in Florence, and she showed me this painting and other masterpieces also by Botticelli and other great masters of the Italian Renaissance. And I remember that it really impressed me, and I stared at this painting for a long time because this beauty in its simplicity, harmony, and perfection really spoke to my mind. You know, children are very spontaneous. They can understand us in a very direct way without needing too many explanations. And so I have this very clear souvenir of my childhood. And this is one of the reasons why I decided also to bring this masterpiece to Hong Kong, because I really wanted to look for a painting capable of speaking to the hearts and minds of the local community and also of all the many Chinese mainlanders, tourists or businessmen who visit Hong Kong every year. And so I wanted to start with a very iconic painting of my country, and I couldn't possibly think of a more beautiful symbol of the culture of my country and our legacy to share with the people of Hong Kong and with China.
It is a really rare opportunity for us, the people now, to enjoy a picture like this, a masterpiece like this, just as people did 500 years ago. And the exhibition will last about 2 months in the museum at the Museum of Hong Kong University. So, how do you think? What would you comment on the meaning of the exhibition?
Well, I'm very happy that we managed to bring this masterpiece to Hong Kong. We also chose the Hong Kong U Museum because we wanted to interact also with the students. And it is the oldest museum in Hong Kong. It is the Museum of University, and it is a temple, let's say one of the temples of culture and of knowledge in Hong Kong. So this is why also we chose that place. It is the first time, that venue, it is the first time that a masterpiece dating back to the Renaissance times is brought to Hong Kong. So it is something for sure, it is a very important start to promote more Italian culture, and also it's really an operation of friendship towards the Hong Kong people and the Chinese people.
I think we should thank to the education program also that we can have a chance to enjoy the masterpiece.
Absolutely, yes.
I've heard that you started your duty as Consul General of Italy in Hong Kong and Macau since 2010.
Yes.
According to your personal opinion, what does the consulate do to promote Italian culture here?
Okay, and we also thank Miss Pansy Ho. Pansy Ho is the patron of our exhibition, and of course the Hong Kong Museum and all the people who collaborated to make this exhibition possible. So when I came to Hong Kong in April 2010, I thought that Italian culture was underrepresented in Hong Kong. It is very well represented, I think, in China. In Beijing and Shanghai, where we have a very established, long-established Italian cultural institutes, and the cooperation is started long before, and it's definitely sounder. I thought that in Hong Kong there was a void which needed to be filled, and that also if you think about the importance of our trade volume, between Italy and Hong Kong, which is absolutely remarkable because the Italian exports to Hong Kong are even higher than the ones to Saudi Arabia, to Brazil, to India even, or South Korea. So I thought that we definitely needed to do more in this field. So I really hope that this exhibition will be able to catch the attention of the public in Hong Kong towards the Italian culture. I think that the city deserves a richer and more diversified cultural offer, and that my country can really contribute a lot to that, because we have a cultural heritage which is absolutely, virtual, almost never ending, I'd say.
Yes.
Any little village in Italy, any town is full of art. And so we really are here to share it with the Hong Kong community. So that was really, in a way, a dream for me, and also a professional objective.
Do you have any specific plans in the future or recently?
Yes, we are working also to bring to Hong Kong another masterpiece, also in early 2014. I unfortunately cannot disclose more details right now, because we're still working to make sure that everything works well. But I hope I will be able to do it as soon as possible. And it will be something completely different from Botticelli. It will be another period of history, of the history of art, but also an ancient master, and also an incredible painter, Italian painter, who had a very huge influence on the culture and art of the entire European continent.
Okay, we are so looking forward to the opportunities to admire the Italian culture in the future. In the past years, the consulate has done a lot of things to not only to promote Italian culture in Hong Kong or in a sense in China, but also tries a lot, worked so hard to help Italian people to live better lives in Hong Kong too. In this respect, could you make a brief introduction for us?
Sure, with pleasure. The Italian people who work in Hong Kong are professionals who are usually very well integrated in the local community. They work in fashion, luxury brands, or in banks and insurance companies. So let's say their living conditions are already very, very good. What we try to do for them is to support all their economic activities. Whenever they need some help for, in the contacts with the local authorities or with local businessmen, or also support them by, for example, doing something for the Italian school. We have an Italian school in Hong Kong which is open on some Saturday morning, and so we also committed ourselves to make them stronger, to grow them, or also to make all the other Italian associations in Hong Kong be even more successful, and they are absolutely growing. So the Italian Chamber of Commerce, the Italian Women Association, the Italian Language School Dante, we all work together as a real community to bring more Italy to Hong Kong, and to bring more Italy to the Italians who live here, and of course who are very happy to be here, but also need to breathe an Italian culture and atmosphere sometimes.
On the other hand, the consulate also does a lot to promote, to gear up the businesses between Italy and China. Mm-hmm. So could you also make an introduction about this?
Sure. Hong Kong is a very important platform also to access the Chinese market. And so let's say when we work with the Italian businessmen or Italian companies, they can be here or they can come, in delegations from Italy, but it doesn't matter. When we work with them, we try to promote not only the business between Italy and Hong Kong, but we know that by helping the business by Italy and Hong Kong, we also help the business between Italy and China. And also by doing also these cultural initiatives, we also promote a better understanding between the Chinese culture as a whole, of which Hong Kong is, of course, an important part, and China and Italy. So this is really, we see Hong Kong in a way as a bridge. Hong Kong and Macau have always been bridges between East and West. So yes. This is also, we want to participate in this process of dialogue and through Hong Kong and Macau with China.
Okay. So do you love Hong Kong, the city, personally?
Very much so, because it's an incredible city. I think it is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. It is, it has national parks. It has an incredible skyscrapers. So it is modern, but also if you know how to look for something more traditional, you can definitely find it. So, and it's a city which is full also of different aspects of different cultures. Also, it's a cosmopolitan city. Hong Kong people are very open, very welcoming, very hospitable, and so it is a city in which I think it's very easy and beautiful to live. And then again, it's also a hub. So from here, you can also take advantage to try to know more of China and more of Asia, which is also a very big advantage.
I think Hong Kong is quite, not hard to adapt to.
No.
But when you come here, do you find any difficulties to adapt to here?
Well, let's say I had to maybe to cope with the hectic pace of this city, which is incredibly vibrant and dynamic. And so this was something which impressed me. I knew it already. I mean, China is moving and growing so fast that it's really, for us, it's really fascinating. And so the first challenge maybe was really to readjust my rhythms to the local ones. Other than this, I don't think I had any, which was not even a difficulty. It was, let's say, a challenge. Otherwise, I think I immediately felt that it was good for me to be here in this moment of time, and I was happy to be here.
We can see you speak great English. Do you have any plans to study Mandarin or Cantonese?
I'd love to. I'm afraid they're too difficult for me, I must be honest. This is the only regret that I have. I didn't have the time during my stay to study Mandarin, also because it's difficult to practice it in Hong Kong, where most of the people speak Cantonese, which is even more difficult for Westerners. So I studied many languages, but not Mandarin, but you never know in life. But not for the moment.
Okay, that is kind of a pity. But
yes,
well,
really
have you ever been to any cities in mainland China?
Yeah, sure. I went to Beijing, to Shanghai, to Guilin, to Yunnan, also for a couple of weeks. It was extremely interesting. We went to Pingyao, to Lijian, obviously in Yunnan. We went to see the Buddha carvings, grottos near Datong. So we kind of tried to see as much as we could. Of course, China is so immense, it is a universe in a way. So you never have enough time. I think you need many lives to really get to know all of China, because it's big and it's extremely rich. And also, when you think about the Chinese cuisine, you are literally charmed by how many different and wonderful dishes you can try. And the Chinese towns are absolutely the same. Each of it has its own character. A little bit like the cities in Italy. There is I think the same degree of diversity, and both cultures are very ancient civilizations. So this is something I also like, because it reminds me of my own country, and I feel the same degree of curiosity and of never-ending curiosity for because the more you learn, the more you want to know, and the more you know, the more you want to learn. So this is how I feel about China.
I believe it will certainly help you to know about the culture in China. Mm-hmm. Could you just use some words to describe the impression China have on you?
Well, first of all, I think that European people also are coming from a country like Italy, which is also a very old history, but which is, in total 60 million people, and territorial dimension, the size is, of course, incomparably smaller to that of China. It is, again, this vastity, this immensity, the size, the numbers. When you come to China, all the numbers get really big and high. So it is as I said, curiosity, I would say, and the feeling that we are. I found myself next to something which was really rich and old and worthy to know. So I understand, let's say, the feeling that Limadu, Matteo Ricci, and the first Italian visitors, or Marco Polo, when they came to China, they felt this, they had the sensation of they came here in a humble way also, and they immediately recognized China as equals, which was at the time of Matteo Ricci of Limadu not so common. They came here when the Western colonial powers had this feeling sometimes of superiority towards the rest of the world, but the Italian people who came here immediately realized that the Chinese culture was so ancient and so rich that it had to be recognized and acknowledged immediately as equal and as interesting, as rich, as fascinating, and that there was something that we should both learn from the other side, and that we have to open up our arms and listen carefully to what the other side is telling us.
I agree. So at last, as the Consul General, or if you would like to speak on your own how would you comment on the relationship between Italy and China now?
They're very promising. As I said before, they're very old. They're very well. I think the first encounter between Italian people and China since the very beginning, 400 years ago, was a very good one. Was an encounter which was really based on friendship, not on the willingness to conquer or to dominate, but the willingness to understand and to learn from each other. And I think that this feature has always been maintained. It's a little bit a characteristic also of Italian people. And so this is, let's say, the spirit with which Italian people normally came to China and also go around the world when they move abroad or when they do business with the rest of the world. And this is, let's say, the cultural environment, the framework, let's say, the spirit of our relationships. And if you think about the trade dimension, it's of course also always growing. We have $43 billion US of volume of trade between Italy and China. With Hong Kong, there are $10.37 billion US of trade volume. So in any case, they're very big volumes. I'm sure will continue to grow in the future as China is a rising economic power. It has already risen. It's one of the most fundamental pillars of the world economy today. So if I look at the past, I think we all have all the reasons to be proud and grateful for what we did together most of the times. And if we look at the future, I think there are all the reasons also to be confident and to decide to engage both of us even more on our bilateral relationships.
Okay, so much for today, and thank you so much for coming here.
I really enjoyed speaking to you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Thanks.